Hello one and all, and welcome back to the West Coast Today podcast with me, Owen Wild.
Me, Megan Day.
Me, Sandy Neal.
And me, Fiona Scott.
We're here to bring you the headlines from Scotland's glorious West Coast this week, appearing online at westcoasttoday.co.uk, as well as in the printed editions of the Oban Times and Lochaber Times this Thursday. If you want to see your story included, you can contact us by emailing editor@obantimes.co.uk, editor@lochabertimes.co.uk, calling us on 01631 568 000, or messaging us on social media. It was a busy week for agricultural shows last week, and to tell us about one of them, we have Megan Day. Megan, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. So last Saturday I had the opportunity to go to the Appin agricultural show for the first time, and what a time it was. It was a very busy show with lots of increased livestock entries and items in their home produce tent. To read more about the winners and about the event, pick up a copy of this week's Oban Times and keep an eye out on www.westcoasttoday.co.uk for a video of the event coming soon. Also in the Oban Times this week, it's been announced that the islands of Lismore, Tiree and Mull have received funding from the Scottish Government's Islands Programme. This will allow for projects that will help the local island communities with specific projects. So to find out what these are, pick up a copy of this week's Oban Times. Also, Oban Pride is back this weekend for its 7th year in a row with new events and locations. Hopefully the weather holds up for them.
Thank you, Megan. Next up, we have Sandy to tell us a wee bit more about what's happening in Oban.
Thank you very much, Owen. Well, campaigners against a plan to build a huge wind farm off the Isles of Islay, Colonsay, Jura, Mull, Iona, Tiree and Cole say that almost 5,000 objections have been submitted. Plans for a hotel to be built at an Oban car park have been recommended for approval by council officers. A new statue depicting the Irish patron saint of the Hebridean Isle of Barra will be unveiled on his feast day in September, 1,400 years after his death. And after 3 decades of active service, Skye said a final farewell to its veteran RNLI lifeboat, the RNLB Stanley Watson Barker, nicknamed Stan. And finally, the Royal Hotel in Argyll Square is going into administration with 59 jobs on the line.
Thank you, Sandy. And it's a similar story in Fort William for hotel staff, isn't that right, Fee?
Yes, so a major chain which owns and operates 3 hotels on the West Coast has appointed administrators following sustained financial difficulties. The Alexandra Hotel and Ben Nevis Hotel and Leisure Club in Fort William and the Royal Hotel in Oban are among 8 hospitality venues owned by Strathmore Hotels Limited, with all facing uncertain futures. 98 staff are currently employed across the 2 Fort William hotels, with the Royal employing 59. All 8 sites will continue to trade while the administrators review the options available to them. Glenfinnan Gathering enjoyed another bumper turnout last weekend, and we have a report and photographs in this week's paper with more photos on our website. Over in the sports section, we report on more success for Lochaber strongmen, and a popular figure returns to the Fort William FC senior ranks. You can read all of these stories and more in this week's Lochaber Times or online at www.westcoasttoday.co.uk. Back to you, Owen.
Thank you, Fee. Now we head over to Nikki to tell us a wee bit about this week's Blether in the Heather episode. So, Nikki, what's been happening in Blether in the Heather?
Well, Owen, I'm delighted. Episode 4 was where we met with Neil McAllister Hall, who is from Torresey Castle Estate and Ben and Turek Distillery, who produce Kintyre Gin. And it was a wonderful day, beautiful sunshine on such an amazing estate. And it's a really interesting chat, actually, learning all about how they have evolved and about their green energy and how inspiring that is for other businesses too. So that was great. And if you haven't already listened, we've already launched episodes 1, 2 and 3. So that was meeting with Lauren Groves, who was a team crew member on the Clipper race, Team Tung Young. And that was very interesting. That was all about her very first experience on a boat, let alone one of the biggest challenges in the world. And then we have met with Inverary Jails, Shane Smalley, who is the prison warder there. So fun, so interesting, learning a lot of the history there for Inverary Jail in the escape room. And we met with Iona Buick as well. She was episode 2. And she is the manager of Isle of Bute Distillery that produce Bute Gin, and they also have Bute Brew Company. Again, learning more about the island and how they collaborate and all of the exciting things that go on at Bute Yard. So if you want to get a listen, go to westcoasttoday.co.uk/Blether. You can hear it on any of your podcast platforms, and you can also see the interview with Lauren Groves on YouTube in full as a video. So yeah, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us.
And finally, a wee bit of news from me. A Michelin chef from Mull is selling up his beloved family bistro after his wife's freak accident forces the family to move to the mainland for treatment. The Salen show saw farming's future in the frame as youngsters picked up big prizes. It was raining all day, and somehow, someway, I still managed to get a mild sunburn. And it's time for episode 4 of our Spotlight On series. This time I went to spend a day with Rookhart Games to try my hand at some board games and found out how this amazing community initiative is hoping to combat isolation.
What did you play, Owen?
I played a game called Suro, which is kind of like a maze game, and a game called Bang, which basically think of it as like a role-playing game with cards and cowboys.
Ooh.
Wow.
Quite fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I also got completely destroyed at Double. So, there you go. Well, folks, I think that's all we have time for this week. So, thank you very much for listening, and remember to pick up a paper from tomorrow. It's goodbye from me, Owen Wilde.
Me, Megan Day.
Me, Sandy Neal.
And me, Fiona Scott.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, hey.